Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat. It's Let It Rip Friday.
Hi, I'm Linda Mitchell, 54-year-old elite obstacle racer, award-winning fitness competitor, gym owner, and author. Welcome to the Sisterhood of Sweat podcast, where we will approach the difficult topics of life, interview inspiring guests, and bring empowerment to all. This community is a place where we can be who we are instead of who others want us to be. Let's get started.
And now, a word from our sponsors, Essential Formulas.
Now more than ever, it is important to have a healthy immune system. Many health professionals agree that probiotics are a leading natural therapy for boosting immune health. Why? Because 70% of your body's immune cells reside in the GI tract. By taking a superior probiotic daily, like Dr. Ohhira's probiotics, with their postbiotic metabolites, you can enhance your overall immune system and immune response. For additional immune support, get RegActive's Immune Formula to boost your glutathione levels, since our glutathione levels go down if we feel stressed. Maintaining glutathione levels is a key factor for natural defense. For a short-term immune boost, try Dr. Ohhira's Propolis Plus, which provides probiotic and immune support and includes Brazilian green propolis for superior antioxidant support and vitamin E, astaxanthin, and flax oil. Be proactive about your immune health. Ask your retailer today about Dr. Ohhira's probiotics, RegActive Immune Formula, and Dr. Ohhira's Propolis Plus today.
And I'm going to start us off with a quote. I love this one. Be like seeds. Do not see dirt thrown at you as your enemy, but as ground to grow. And that leads me off with my first thought. When you are doing something and you're actually achieving and you're going for things, you're going to have people that throw rocks or stones or words of criticism at you. And I would just say, take those rocks and those stones. And this is kind of like a little cliche, but I believe in it 100%, and build your house with them. And when we are going after our dreams and working and we're in the trenches and we are in the thick of the work that we have begun to achieve these lofty goals, people are going to talk because you've given them something to talk about. And I always say, would you rather do, be, or have nothing to not be talked about? So it's the first thing that you have to do is grow a thicker skin and recognize that the dirt thrown at you, just like that quote says, is going to be the fertile ground that your dreams grow from. And I love Joel Osteen. I listen to him all the time. I love a lot of his analogies. And he always says, trouble is your transportation. Struggle is in the middle where you have the mess. That's where you have your greatest lessons. And when I was talking about growing from the bricks thrown at you, I can still remember this person coming in, pretending they wanted to invest in my business, only to kind of let me know, hey, Linda, your the name of your studio, you can't trademark it. I saw your letter. I'm like, who does that? Who looks up somebody else's? Who has time for that? To rain on someone else's parade so bad they have to go look up a letter and they pretend they want to invest in your business. And I'm always believing the best in people. I can be, I've got a little more street smart, but I could be naive and didn't even see that until after the fact. And so when I got the opportunity and when I went through this other rough spot, which I'll get to in a minute, I came up with the name, or I thought I did, but now I feel like it was definitely divine. intervention, giving me the name for the Sisterhood of Sweat. If you've listened to my story, The Pink Purse, SOS. And I didn't even realize what all that was going to mean at the time. So I don't want to get off track here. When I'm talking about that story, I had the name, and I thought, when I have another studio, I'm going to rebrand, I'm going to use the name, I'm going to trademark. And I did. So what that story to me is, I took the bricks thrown at me, and now my brand is growing like wildfire. So when somebody criticizes you, you can look at it and be like, is that true? And if there is a ring of truth to it, well, I'm going to take it, instead of personally, I'm going to be like, okay, I guess I could dust a little off more often. If somebody says, you have dust in the windowsill at your gym, instead of having a meltdown that you're not perfect. And I would also say, if somebody is always being a naysayer and pointing out flaws in things, this could go back to the crabs in the bucket. When somebody feels like you are elevating, and maybe you were here before on the same level, and all of a sudden you are believing in yourself, you're believing in your dreams, you're taking action, and you're taking flight. The first reaction is crabs in the bucket. The crabs want to pull the crab that's getting out of the bucket back down. And how do they do that? By negative comments, by criticism, so many things. So when somebody is doing that, they're just trying to bring you back down. And how do you not allow that to happen? Because we can be sensitive. You know, if you're all heart, you might take it personally. First of all, I like the book, The 4 Agreements. I like the one element where it says take nothing personally, because it's always within that other person. If they are trying to pull you down back into the bucket, it isn't about you. It's about their dynamics, their drama, whatever's going on with them. Don't get caught in the muck, because it will pull you back down. Keep focusing on your goals. Keep your eyes on your goals, because all we see, I love this quote, are obstacles when we take our eyes off of our goals. And don't let anybody make you feel bad about rising, about shining, about owning your power. Actually, dial it in harder, dial it in more, work harder, so that you can rise above the noise. Work so hard people can't ignore you. Work so hard that you're so many levels up that this stuff can't even reach you anymore. Because if you're ever going to do anything in life, you got to toughen up. You got to grow a thicker skin. And also, buy your haters roses. Buy them roses. Because they are teaching you valuable lessons if you open your eyes and you just look for them. And what I was talking about earlier is, when I was coming up with the title for my book, I was going through this rough time with somebody that I thought was aligned with my vision, but I realized we weren't on the same page. And when it just didn't work out, it was a rough period. It was a rough period in my business, and I had to stand alone. But now I see, from that to where I am now, I'm like, oh my gosh, so much growth. So much came out of that hardship. Yes, buy your haters roses, because it taught me so much. It taught me so much about myself. It taught me about my principles. It taught me about my values, what I stand for, what I stand up for, what I will and won't allow, what environment I wanted to have in my business, and that you have to guard it and protect it and set your vision, set your mission, and you have to protect those things. And you might not realize that if you're anything like me at all, and you always are thinking the best out of everyone. And it doesn't make them evil either if you're not on the same page. It just is a whole gamut of learning that's accessible to us if we only open our eyes and recognize that the good and the bad, every bit, it's like a diamond has to go through the fire to become a diamond. And so all of it has brought you to where you are in this very moment. The worst things, the best things, the thing that you thought was just the world was over when it happened, something that maybe embarrassed you, something that made you cry, maybe a door was closed and you couldn't, go back in it. You had to go a different direction. And at the time, it felt like rejection, but really it was God's redirection, taking you to a better path. And you would have just stayed stuck in what you had always done instead of rising to who you could be, following your vision and your purpose, because somebody is waiting out there for you to follow through with these things that have been in your heart and your mind, to stop playing small and start playing bigger. And lives could be changed when you hone in and you hold on to your vision and you protect the environment and you just know what you're about and you don't settle for anything less than that. And I really love this quote. It kind of went along with what I was saying before. To avoid enemies, say nothing. To avoid critics, do nothing. And to avoid haters, be nothing. But to avoid mediocrity, ignore them all. I love that so much because many times we don't go for that big dream. We don't go for that thing that we want because we're stuck in our head thinking about what are people going to say? What are people going to think? And we think we're putting a target on our back that people are going to be gunning for us. People, if you write that book, people are going to be criticizing. And let's hope they are. Let's hope they do give you some critique, because if they do, that means you're a real author. And just have that positive mindset and see it for what it is. So if you have haters out there, sometimes it's because you're shining a light on what they're not doing. And some people might be negative at first, but when they see you rise, they will eventually come around and join on with you on your side and be your biggest cheerleaders. So keep going today. Keep rising today. Keep believing in yourself. Keep going after those big dreams. And if you have haters, how do you deafen the noise? You just rise so far above that you can't hear it anymore. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode today. And as always, keep on keeping on and keep on believing in yourselves. Seize the day. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.
And I hope that all of our listeners have enjoyed this podcast. And if you guys have really enjoyed this, please review us in iTunes and also share this episode with your friends and your loved ones. Thanks again for listening to the Sisterhood of Sweat.